Greetings. This is Phil Amerson with the To Be and Do podcast. Recently, in the middle of May, research was released from the Hartford Institute for Religion Research. I've known many of the people there for a number of years, and the research s- plays into a theme that people are exploring around what's happening to religion in our time. Some earlier said there's a religious revival going on, and they pointed to young men who were going back to church or being involved in faith groups. And some others said, no, 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 there's not really a revival. There may be a modest uptick. Well, the Hartford Institute for Religion Research published a study that was quite interesting. It says there has been a shift for the first time in 2 decades back toward more people volunteering and being involved in church. The headline finding, they say, is cautious optimism. Church attendance in 2000, the average congregation had 135 in worship. Just 2 years ago or 3 years ago in the COVID, average attendance was down to 45. But what has been found recently is that 45 has now creeped back up to more than 65. So there is something going on, modest new growth. My friend Scott Tuma is at Hartford, and he's always been a fan of mega churches. He thinks that's where growth will be in the future. I understand what Scott is saying, and I want to quibble with it. And I want to quibble with also someone else that's been in the news recently, and that's a fellow who has decided, as a pastor of a large church, he wants to run for Senate. His name is Adam Hamilton. I've known Adam for many, many years. He's done a wonderful ministry at Church of the Resurrection out in Leawood, Kansas, but they have a number of satellite congregations, 8 or 9 or 10 satellite congregations, some of them in the Missouri side of the Kansas City greater metropolitan area. They both Scott Thuma and Adam Hamilton are fans. They're true believers in the power of large congregations of megachurches, and actually Adam's church is 22,000. He says he's running for the Senate with the basis of being well known. He's been on television now for years and years and years. Um, I think what they're saying about mega churches being the place where most growth occurs is correct up to a point. And the point is this. Uh, they're right if you want to talk about the future of the church or of congregations being in suburban America or even in urban America. But what I think they miss are all of the churches out there in the cities, in the suburbs, but also in rural areas that are small but viable, small but fruitful, small but critical to the civic life of a community. Uh, I think that what's going on is just a renewal of something that is a great hunger among the people of the US, and that is that there is a lack of moral clarity, a lack of direction, of purpose, of meaning, that is more and more evident. Social researchers, sociologists, Milton Younger used to say that religion serves three functions. It gives meaning, it gives belonging, and it gives empowerment. And different phases of a congregation can do those things. We have lost a sense of meaning, and I'm going to talk about that in some other podcasts. But our young people today increasingly report that they are not sure what the moral decision would look like. They've lived in a time when images are more important than symbols and symbolic understanding of the world around them is lost. They can see a lot of pictures and they can watch a lot of brief videos, but what does that have to do with anything else? Um, so I want to suggest that there is a great gift in the small things that happen in congregations, and that we best not be confused about what happens in megachurches as being the only sign of the future. I leave you with this story. When I was a pastor at Broadway United Methodist Church in Indianapolis, it had seen better days. It had once been the largest church in United Methodist North Central US, over 4,000 members, and it had dwindled and dwindled. And part of it was a changing neighborhood, racial change in that neighborhood, but it still had great vitality. I had friends when I went there who said, "Oh, you're going to go down with a Titanic. That ship's going to go under." Well, they were wrong. That church is still vibrant. And here's the thing that they were mostly wrong about. They missed the strength that was tucked away in various corners of that church. I'll tell you of one of the places. We started a healing service on Friday mornings, and that was followed by a Bible study. The healing service would have 8 or 10 people, and they would come and share their concerns, and we would pray for one another, and then we would go into a Bible study. They were mainly women, 8, 9, 10, 12 women, and over the course of a few years, they became a nuclear power center, nuclear generator, a source of incredible resource in that congregation. So many stories to tell you about it. I'll tell you just now about moving into that Bible study at noon. They began to share. One of the practices was share with the group what you're doing and what you love and what joy you have. And I remember one woman wrote poetry and she came sharing a book that had just been published. It was Prayers for Children. And Rose's book was entitled Fold Your Mittens, Kittens. And it was a delightful book. And we purchased it and passed it around. Who would have thought that Rose had a book there? Or who would have thought about Hertha Taylor, who would sing the songs of her African American tradition and warm all of our hearts. What an incredible woman Hertha was. Or who would have thought of Margaret Hadley? Oh, my goodness. The power, the resource. She became the lay leader of that congregation, even in her late 70s. And the things that she helped happen just out of her strength. So, was there a revival going on? Well, a little bit in numbers. We began to welcome neighbors, many of them African American, and we also welcomed the neighbors that were gentrifying the neighborhoods south of uh, that church. Many of them were gay and lesbian people, and so there was a renewal going on in that sense. Through it all, here's the theme: is there joy? Is there a sense of goodness, a sense of restoration and community? I think so. I'll tell you more about that church and some other stories of renewal. But back to the Hartford study, in some senses, renewal measured only in congregational attendance is one way to measure it, but there may be a renewal that needs to take place and is going to take place in terms of the moral fabric of our country, in terms of people feeling they have a place for meaning, belonging, and empowerment. May God bless you as you think about how your life can contribute in small ways or in large ways to how God's grace can be shared. Um, Let me close with this piece from Frederick Buechner. I've spoken of him often. Here's another small piece that he wrote about grace. After centuries of handling and mishandling, most religious words have become so shop worn, nobody's much interested anymore. Not so with grace for some reason. Mysteriously, even derivatives like gracious and graceful still have some of the bloom left on them. Grace is something you can never get, but can only be given. There is no way to learn it or deserve it or bring it about any more than you can deserve the taste of raspberries and cream or earn good looks or bring your own birth about. A good sleep is grace, and so are good dreams. Most tears are grace. The smell of rain is grace. Somebody loving you is grace. Loving somebody else is grace. Have you ever tried to love somebody? A crucial eccentricity of the Christian faith is the assertion that people are saved by grace. There is nothing you have to do. There is nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to do. The grace of God means something like, here is your life. You might never have been, but you are, because the party wouldn't have been complete without you. Here is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Don't be afraid. I'm with you. Nothing can ever separate us. It is for you I created the universe. I love you. There's only one catch. Like any other gift, the gift of grace can be yours only if you'll reach out and to take it. Maybe being able to reach out and take it is a gift too. Frederick Buechner, from his book Wishful Thinking. May you reach out and take the grace, the abundance that's all around you. First, I hope you have the eyes to see and then reach out and take. This is Phil Amerson for the To Be and Do podcast.